It is now a known fact that centuries before the birth of Christ, at a time when the Greek Empire was flourishing in the Mediterranean and other regions were just emerging from the Stone Age, Sri Lanka was already a land of highly advanced civilization. The ancient cities, as evidenced today by remnant architectural features, were well ordered, linked by an expansive road network and nurtured by a technologically advanced agricultural system, all masterminded by a series of kings and rulers whose sole vision was to etch their permanent signature on everything they did. It is verified that human settlement in the land began as far back as 500 BC, and that the cultural triangle, as it is now known, comprising the ancient kingdoms of Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa and Sigiriya, with all other historical and religiously important sites in between, were the heartbeat of advancement. While the intervening years may have destroyed the systems the former monarchs established with great love and care, there still remains a great deal to imbue from these historic sites in the north-central province of the country. Anuradhapura was the first formalized capital center of the kingdom of Lanka, and though in ruins today, displays some of the world's mightiest masses of monumental masonry, second only to the pyramids of Egypt. According to the Mahavamsa, the kingdom was founded by 3 Anuradhas, which explains its name, and remained the capital of Sri Lanka for 1,400 years, ruled by no less than 123 kings, spreading its influence from the Tiber to the Yellow Sea, sporting 3-storied houses, intricate pleasure gardens, streets organized according to artisan classes, a thriving industry, a bejeweled palace of 1,000 chambers, gold pinnacle dargabas rising hundreds of feet into the sky, and hydraulic marvels that to this day baffled the most learned experts. Anuradhapura also retains its exalted position as the cradle of Buddhism, with the world's oldest historically documented tree demanding worship of Buddhist devotees unbroken for over 25 centuries. The Sri Mahabodhi is home to the sapling of the Bo tree, which gave shelter to Lord Buddha prior to enlightenment, and was carried to Sri Lanka in 3rd century BC by Sangamitta, the founder of the first order of Buddhist nuns. The religious grounding is in evidence everywhere in the kingdom, with spectacular dargabas and handcrafted stone statues like the phenomenal 39-foot Aukana or sun-eating Buddha statue. The forest-clad mountain of Mihintale, rising over 300 meters above sea level and about 11 kilometers from Anuradhapura, is also significant in the Buddhist annals of the country. It was on this summit that Mahinda, son of Emperor Asoka of India, stopped the then ruling King Devanampiyathissa of Anuradhapura, who was on a hunting mission, to introduce the philosophy of Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Mihintale became one of the greatest monastic cities of that time, with regulations established to preserve its forests and wildlife, a diktat which continues to this day, swathing the environs with a sense of seclusion and tranquility to the thousands of fervid pilgrims who climb the 1,840 granite steps to pay homage. Polonnaruwa, the second capital of Sri Lanka, has a comparatively brief and less complex history than Anuradhapura, having simply taken on the mantle of ruling after the destruction of Anuradhapura in 993 by the Cholas. But it is in Polonnaruwa that Buddhism continued to flourish, with most of the colossal dargabas preserved even today, extracting wonderment among visitors due to their sheer size and architectural accomplishments. It is also in Polonnaruwa that some of the world's greatest irrigation systems were built, developed and retained to be used even today. Of this, the great Sea of Parakrama, part of the fabulous garden city created by King Parakrama Bahu in the 12th century, is a mammoth irrigational feat, covering 5,600 acres of water, incorporating 5 minor lakes, and built by 1,000 men over 12 years. The lifeblood of the ancient city at the time, the Parakrama Samudra, continues to be so today as well. The centerpiece of this medieval city is the quadrangle, or the Dalada Malua, comprising 12 magnificent buildings standing on a platform. The oldest monument in Polonnaruwa, its centerpiece comprises the circular Vatadage, with its floridly decorated stonework, a pair of stone guard stones, and the moonstone on the second flight leading to the 4 Buddha statues who back what remains of a Dagaba. Then there's the glorious granite wonder of the Galvihara, with its 4 mid-12th century carvings of Lord Buddha cut from a single granite wall, ranked among true masterpieces of Sri Lankan art. Even today, it's a stupendous sight. A massive red monolith rising 600 feet from green scrub jungle, Sigiriya, or the Lion Rock, although a kingdom for only 18 years in the late 5th century, is one of the loveliest cities ever known. The fugitive, albeit flamboyant King Kassapa, who was also guilty of patricide, transformed this rock, entered into, through the jaws of a lion, into an art aficionado's dream. Seductive, bare-breasted beauties, known as the Sigiriya maidens, painted in tempera, in brilliant colors, denote evidence of about 500 such damsels, although only about 18 remain today. And journey on through the Lion Terrace and onto the summit, where an absolutely marvelous vista of the entire area is a picturesque backdrop to the vestiges of extraordinary architecture. 3 acres of buildings, running water, the colonnaded royal summer house, bathing pools cut out of living rock, and a canopied throne complete with council hall all speak of astonishing genius. Down below, the perfectly symmetrical water gardens still function. Possibly the most impressive of all cave temples in Sri Lanka, Dambulla, a cave monastery which has a history dating back to the 1st century BC, comprises 5 sanctuaries and the largest and best preserved cave temple complex. All the caves have hand-painted murals, statues, and even one sporting a life-size effigy of the last Kandyan king. But it is in the largest cave that leaves visitors in awe. The fully illustrated ceiling follows the natural folds of the rock so closely that it resembles painting on fabric. But just move away from ancient history and Dambulla has taken on a new passion: hot air ballooning, taking the visitor into the skies to indulge in an aerial panorama of the diverse hues of Sri Lanka. Flights are generally in the morning, gliding over the countryside terrain with the beautiful rice farms, giving dramatic viewpoints and great photo opportunities. Many ancient sites of historical and religious significance dot the island, evidencing that Sri Lanka has been a country of influence and prestige. The Buddha statues of Buduruvagala, the sacred area of Maligavila, and the wooden carvings in the Drummers Hall at Mbeke have all turned a spotlight on Sri Lanka's ancient heritage and contribution to world history, recognized and supported as UNESCO World Heritage Sites and preserved under the Cultural Triangle program.